5 titles I immediately pre-ordered.
No, don't do this. Enough is enough.
So the first release was a no-brainer to me. Originally got into 4K, started collecting 4Ks. This was announced not long after I got into 4K, and it was just boop, pre-order, immediate, didn't even think about it, had to get it, and that is the Cine Edition 4K of Godzilla 2014. This, if you know this channel, you know how much I love Godzilla. This 2014 reboot from Legendary Pictures is one of my favourite Godzilla films ever. It was the movie that really catapulted me into Godzilla fandom, essentially, and it made me go and hunt down those elusive Toho Japanese classics. I adore this film from everything, the cinematography, the lighting, the sense of scale. Godzilla is an absolute fucking behemoth in this movie. He's so cool. This film is just so well done. The acting's fantastic. The visual effects are just stunning. This 4K is one of the best examples of a 4K giving you a brand new experience of a film. A lot of criticisms came out for this movie about it being too dark in theatres, and you're not really seeing much when it concerns the third act. It's all at night time. This 4K really does solve that with its new colour grading and HDR, and it does just absolutely make the film a lot more enjoyable to watch in terms of its colour and light. It's like night and day with the night scenes in this on 4K. It is great. Yeah, this definitely was a release I couldn't just not buy it. I had to pre-order it day one, and that's what I did. That's Godzilla 2014, Cine Edition on 4K. Next up, we have more Godzilla goodness, because I am a bit of a sucker for Godzilla stuff. Again, when I really got into 4K and started thinking about collecting, this film had just basically come out on in cinemas. Very limited because we were in the pandemic at the time. But yeah, I thought this was a dumb, fun, 100-minute kind of monster movie. Just King Kong and Godzilla just duking it out, and it's just a ton of fun. So, when I got into 4K and I knew this film was going to come out on 4K, I had to pre-order it immediately without thought. Yeah, it had to be done. And I do love this slipcover. I think it looks fantastic. I knew I wanted to get the slipcover on it. There is a bunch of other releases of this that I didn't really get around to pre-ordering because I just didn't want to pay the extra for them. But I feel this standard edition with the nice slipcover is all I really wanted. And I pre-ordered it without hesitation because it's a Godzilla movie that I needed in my collection. And I definitely wanted to get the MonsterVerse films on 4K. This is a reference standard 4K. It's that good. It's demo worthy. If you're on a 4K that really shows HDR at its fullest and just generally just a great looking image, this is the film you stick on to show your mates about what 4K can really do. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Godzilla vs Kong. I pre-ordered it without even thinking about it because I had to have it in the collection. Next up, we have an anime. I used to be really into anime in like the late 90s, through to the like mid 2000s, and I've kind of fallen off it since then. I haven't really gotten into any of the new. The new stuff is too squeaky clean for my taste. I don't really like the genres they've gone into, but there's this classic mecha kaiju anime that I absolutely adore, and I've been begging whoever owned the rights to put this out on Blu-ray, to re-release it, because I've got an old DVD set that I paid stupid money for because you just couldn't get this physically, this series. You couldn't get it physically without paying stupid money for the DVD releases. But finally we have it. We have it on Blu-ray, and I just pre-ordered it without even fucking thinking about it because I had to have it. And that is the anime called Neon Genesis Evangelion. This is the HMV exclusive slipcover. Nerve, that's the organisation that run the mechs in this anime. We remove the slip and we have the amazing artwork. I adore this anime. It's part mech action, part kaiju monster movie, part kind of intellectual, kind of biblical storytelling. It's very odd. It gets very odd towards the end, I'll put it that way. But this is one of my favourite animes of all time. It's from the 90s. In my opinion, you can't beat 80s or 90s anime. I think it's the best ever. But yeah, Neon Genesis Evangelion, I was so excited when Anime Limited announced that they were planning to put this out on Blu-ray. I was itching for it. I couldn't wait to press that pre-order button. I needed it in my life. There's multiple editions of this. I think there's like, this version was 50 because it was the exclusive slip, £50 for this version. There's a £130 version which comes with a bunch of trinkets, and there's a massive ultimate edition that came out which was like 300 quid. I almost bought that, by the way, guys, but I thought, I don't need all that extra stuff. I just want the series on Blu-ray. So I settled for this awesome HMV exclusive with this cool slip with the Nerve logo. But yeah, Neon Genesis Evangelion is one of the fucking best anime shows ever made. And I'm so happy to have this Blu-ray set in my collection. Yeah, I didn't even breathe when I pressed pre-order. I needed it in my life. Speaking about not breathing and couldn't believe it was announced and wanted it immediately and was just like, when can I fucking pre-order? Tell me now, guys. And that would be the Arrow Gamera Collector's Edition. I couldn't wait. Oh man, I think I had this on pre-order maybe like, it was announced in the January of 2019. And it was coming out in the summer, like the August or whatever. And I had to wait that excruciating 7 months for it to come out. But yeah, this goes for a silly money now. It goes for about 300, about double the price. I think it came out at like, I paid about 115 for this on release day, and it came out and then it immediately shot in value because everyone fucking bought it. It sold out immediately. But this is one of the most insanely amazing collector's editions ever. Yeah, it's every Gamera movie ever made in this set. The Showa era, the Heisei era. It even has basically all the comics ever made, which weren't that many, about 3 or 4 of them. This has the complete comics collection as well, and it has a cool History of Gamera book as well. This is the nicest set I think Arrow has ever produced. I honestly believe that. I think it is the most fully featured, packed set, and for 115 quid, I think it's like one of the best prices they've put on a set. It's just wonderful. I think for the price, the bang for buck, as they say, is absolutely spectacular. Yeah, like I said, I couldn't believe this was announced when it was, and I didn't breathe when I just held my breath and pressed the pre-order button because I knew that I had to have it in my life. Yeah, Gamera Complete Collection, the collector's edition. I did go and buy the standalone editions as well because I wanted those standalone box sets because they look cool as well. But this edition is heavy as hell. This is hurting my hands, guys. This is heavy as fuck. But even the back is just a shell. It just makes sense. If you want a more comprehensive look at this edition, I do have a video on it on the channel, so you can find that on the channel somewhere. It's did quite well, that video as well. So yeah, this is one of my favourite editions in my collection, and yeah, it's probably one of the best releases Arrow have ever put out. That's Gamera, the Complete Collection. The final pick for this video, I thought this would be kind of poetic because if you know this channel, you know how much I love this movie from last year. So when Xavi announced the Malignant Steelbook Blu-ray, you know what I did, guys. I pre-ordered it immediately. But what baffled me about Malignant, there was no 4K in sight when this came out. There was no 4K in sight. There was just a standard Blu-ray and the Blu-ray steelbook here. I still think this is a really good steelbook. As you can see here, you know, red and black, absolutely fantastic. It's not the greatest steelbook in the world, but I still think it's just a really stylish one. You just got the basic Blu-ray in there. But yeah, like I said, no 4K in sight, and I was really disappointed that we didn't get a 4K because this film looks spectacular on Blu-ray, and I thought this is going to look amazing on 4K. It's going to look outstanding. I'm sure this sold pretty well, and due to public demand and, you know, people clamouring for the 4K, they finally gave us the 4K. Yeah, I'm really chuffed about getting it on 4K. Again, I pre-ordered it immediately. The same with the Steelbook. I just pre-ordered these straight away without even thinking about it. Yeah, the 4K, I had to get it, and it is incredible. It looks absolutely spectacular on 4K. One of my favourite 4K transfers. I think it's one of the best looking. It's not like demo worthy per se. It's not like reference quality, But for what it does in terms of versus the Blu-ray, it's just spectacular. It looks great. The only downside I'd say about this release is that it's a pretty bare bones release. You know, you're more or less just getting the movie here. There's not much when it concerns special features or any kind of fancy slip cover or packaging. It's literally just the Amaray 4K with the movie on, with a couple of special features. There's not much going for it. That's the only downside I have for this release. But this is not about what I think about the releases. This is about me just having to own these just immediately without even thinking about, you know, I pressed that pre-order button so quick. I couldn't even wait to get them in the post. But yeah, that is my final pick for titles that I immediately pre-ordered without hesitation. That's Malignant. So those are my picks, guys. Let me know in the comments what titles you just pre-ordered without even breathing and just needed in your life. But yeah, I thought I picked some good titles. There are obviously loads more I could have chose for this video, and I might do a part 2 in the future. But yeah, that's my list, guys. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about these titles and many more. Any titles that, you know, you immediately just had to own as soon as they were announced. There's been tons of stuff this year that have been announced that I just wanted to pre-order, but I couldn't justify price or stuff like that. But yeah, as it is, guys, that is my list. I will see you next time, I suppose. Bye.